friends, new and old, and welcome to the POWWOW podcast. We are delighted to have you. I am your host, David.
And I'm Philip.
And I'm so excited to be here.
It
shows. In the same place that I am every week, obviously, to record this podcast.
Yes, as we both are.
Do you think one day we'll have a studio, Phil? Like an actual studio together?
I don't think. I know. One day we will have the POWWOW studio. There will be a
POWWOW
live
studio.
There will be an electronic campfire in the middle.
Yes. Electronic campfire. Fantastic.
Yeah. But in the beginning we'll be cheap. And so it'll have those like air flames, you know, where the wind blows underneath the pile of logs, the little pieces of tarp
flappy
just
things,
flapping, yes, with the wind.
Yeah, and then eventually maybe we'll upgrade. Listen, look,
I hope
as fun as that is, I need you to issue a public apology, Phil. I don't know if we've done. Have we covered this already? We might have, but it's still written in my notes, and I don't remember talking about it. I looked it up, Phil. Several weeks ago, you implied, or you didn't imply, you said that Tokyo Drift was not a part of the Fast and Furious official chronology, like the official 1, 2, 3, 4, right? The sequence of movies. You said it was like a side, like a in the universe, but it wasn't part of the original series. It is, in fact, the official third movie. Do you regret your words, Phil? Do you
So whenever they come back for so Too Fast, Too Furious is the sequel. Whenever they come back with the chronological movie after Tokyo Drift, the movie that they chose was like Fast and Furious 4.
Yeah, they didn't call it that. It was called like, I think the original movie is called The Fast and the Furious, and then I think the fourth one is called Fast and Furious, but it is the fourth one because the one after that is Fast 5.
Fast 5. Okay. Interesting.
And then after that is like Furious 6 or something.
I will say I apologize for being factually incorrect. We do like facts around here, and I will adhere to them. If that is the case, then I will say I apologize, even though I think it's widely known within the audience's purview of the Fast and Furious franchise that Tokyo Drift is more likely to be forgotten by both the audience and the studios that make the Fast and Furious franchise more often than not. But I stand corrected. I sit corrected today. I am wrong. I humbly hope you accept my apology. F is for friends who do stuff together. U is for you and me. N is for anytime at all down here in my big booty. All right. If I change the lyrics, then we can't get copyright notice. And I sang it. That's how I believe it.
Yeah.
The copyright law works.
I'm with you.
That'll stand on trial. But back to the F, because F is for friends who do things together. There are different types of friends who do things together, but for our purposes, we're just talking about plain old friendship. Maybe we'll do another episode later on down the line about other things to be done, but friendship is what brought us here together on the podcast today, David. We've got a lot to discuss and not a lot of time. First off, I guess, what does friendship mean to you, if not defined by Webster?
Sure. I will say it in this way. I think it's maybe a little bit different, but I think that someone becomes a friend to me rather than an acquaintance once I share a secret with them. Once I feel like I can share a secret with them and there's that interchange of like something personal, that's when someone goes from being someone I know and I'm like cool with to someone I actually consider to be my friend. Even if it's like a small secret, it doesn't have to be like, I killed a man last summer, which may or may not be true. You know, it could be something small, like, you know, I like to be tickled in my lower back. I'm just kidding.
But you're not, but you are.
I'm kidding.
Sure.
I'm kidding.
But for my definition of friendship, of course, it is defined. There's actually not a good definition on old Merriam here.
Go on.
Check this out: a relationship between friends. Woo. The emotion or conduct of friends, the state of being friends. So
you can't use the root word in the definition of the word.
I agree. It's wumbo.
That's like defining chimney sweeper as someone who sweeps chimneys. Like, obviously.
Yes.
Or
absolutely.
Painful. The feeling of pain. What?
No, that one's true. That one's good. I would define it as this. For me, you are my friend if, one, we have a good time together. That's number one, but of course that can be anybody. Two, I can tell that you care as much as I care, because I usually take my cue off the other person. Some people I don't care about, even if they want to be friends, understandable. But if they care as much as I care, if there's a mutual caring level that must be met at the same time, then that means friendship. Because there's a lot of times I think the word friend is loosely thrown out there just because you're friendly and you go about having fun and you even hang out a lot. But that doesn't qualify as friendship to me. I think that there has to be that next level of, oh, I know something about you that's beyond what I could find on Facebook. Even if it's something as simple as I know your favorite color. Even if it's something that allows you to get somebody a gift that is above a gift card. Something that you know is specialized that they would like. That is what makes you a friend, more so than just being friendly with another person.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's move along. I will start first. What is a test for you, David, that enables you to figure out that you are a friend with another person? The friendship test. For me, it boils down to this, and I hope that we don't have the same one. For me, one, you're on the verge if you can ask them that they would help you move. If you feel confident enough to feel comfortable asking them whether or not they would help you move, then you are a burgeoning friend. You are on the cusp of friendship. And two is either if they say yes, or you feel very confident that they would say yes in that event. Because there's some people you say, well, I could ask, but it's just, I'm asking everybody in my Facebook group. Sure, whatever. But if you feel confident that they would say yes outside of circumstances of, I don't know, grandma's in hospice and you have no idea like what's going to happen outside of like plans that happen. But if you feel confident that they would help you then pack, if they would help you then unpack, whatever it may be, they would help you move. That's a good test for me. What's a good test for you?
I think that's a good one. I think that point where you feel like you can ask for something and it's not, even if that something might be a little bit like awkward or annoying or tiresome or boring, you can ask, you feel comfortable enough to ask that. Sure. I had another idea and it's escaped me all of a sudden because my brain is like
as we found out, you have short-term memory loss. Last week.
Yes, that is true. I was not lying last week when I said I have short-term auditory memory, and it really is amazing. ADD comes in many forms, and that is one of my unfortunate symptoms. Oh yes, this is a good one for me. If I feel that I'm at friend level with someone, if I have reached out to that person to spend time with them, and then on a separate occasion, that person has reached out to me to spend time with me. So when there is that equal sort of desire to spend time with one another, I feel like that person is my friend.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, I think a lot of people too, and maybe this is best friendship. I don't know. I'm curious how you feel about it. I'd have to think about it for a second. But I think a test that has been somewhat universal is if you were in jail, who would your one call be if not for family?
No. Not my mom.
Yeah.
Not my mom.
Would
my
your mom let you rot?
Never. She would obviously be there in a heartbeat if she knew, but she never freaking answers her phone. You know, like, have you seen that meme that's like, if you had a gun to your head and you had to call one person, the only thing is they can't pick up. If they pick up, you die. Who are you calling? I call my mom because I'm almost certain that she won't pick up, or at least I have the best shot of her not picking up. If the stakes are that high.
We have a mutual friend that I'd imagine that it would click for you if you don't already know, but who would certainly fit that bill, who I would feel completely confident in not answering their phone. But anyways, we'll talk about that off air. good tests all around. But so would you say that that's a test for best friendship on who you would call to bail you out? Or is that just friendship?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think that's something that you really need someone you can count on, that you know is there,
especially
when you
that
need
they
them.
Would
so
have the money or capability of getting the money.
I mean, that's a different question entirely, because the guy I would call, it depends where I am. I mean, I have friends all over the world, so
sure,
it depends where I am. But the guy that I'm thinking of now, who I would call, I'm not going to say who it is.
Just in case they get to him.
I don't know that he could afford bail. It depends how much the bail is, I guess. But yeah,
either way. But you would at least trust him to make efforts. If not him, he could get to other people.
Money and financials aside, I know who I would call.
All right. Now we move along to what is a story for the pleasant surprise or beginning to a blissful friendship that you had or have.
Yeah, well, I don't know about blissful friendship, but I took this to be a surprising start to a sort of friendship. I don't know if I'd call it friendship, but might as well.
Sure.
His name is Frank. Oh, Frank. Well, before I moved to LA, I went and visited.
On everything?
I'm sorry, what?
Have you never heard of Frank's Red Hot?
No.
Never mind. It's and then it'll completely go beyond.
Yeah,
it,
so you understand why I was confused when you said that.
Yes, I do.
Yes, okay.
I do.
So
continue.
Before I moved to LA, I was visiting, and I had gone on a campus tour of AMDA, where I ended up going to school. Just like 100 meters down from AMDA is the Avalon, which is a famous venue in Hollywood. There's like concerts there, parties, high school proms, whatever. It's a venue. They do lots of things there. All sorts of like high profile events as well. And while I was there, I was visiting. This was about 6 months before I moved to LA. There was this event for Toyota. They were launching their Mirai, their hydrogen fuel cell powered car, and they had one parked on the sidewalk, on the Walk of Fame on Vine Street. And I went and looked at it, and there was this guy there who had like a mustache, and he had this cowboy hat on, and he looks like your typical sort of roadie. Essentially, he's the guy who works at Avalon and helps load and unload things. He makes sure like deliveries are good when they arrive, like and when I say deliveries, I mean like truck full of deliveries and stuff, and like he helps run events. I don't really know. But anyway, I got to chatting with him, and he's a cool guy. He's in his like 60s. And then when I moved to LA, like 6-8 months later, I ran into him again, sitting on a chair outside Avalon. If you've frequented Hollywood, you've probably seen Frank, okay? And every single time I'd walk by, which was usually about like twice a week, he'd be there. During the day, he's there, not at night. And I would talk to him, and the first time when I was living in LA, the first time I saw him, he remembered me from that one little conversation we'd had 6 months earlier. This random guy. I'm sure he talks to lots of people. He's met lots of famous people, which was pretty cool. So he's telling me all these stories about like celebrities and that happened with them. But yeah, that was a cool friendship. And every time I'd pass him for the 3 years that I lived in LA, and it got rarer and rarer after I moved out of Hollywood, but I still used to see him all the time, and that was fun.
For me, it would be the story of my best friendship with our other friend, David Sampson. I did not like David in the slightest the first time I met him. At all. Not even a little bit. We joke about it now because I keep in mind the first time that we met. Okay, so me and David Sampson, we were both in youth theater together. And because of our age difference, which is similar to the age difference you and I have, but of course, whenever you're talking 2-3 years between people, at that age, at that young age, between like 13 to 15, 17 to 15, that age is just, it's 2 years is so much. Like it really separates you between the groups that you hang out with and everything else. So the first couple times that I hung out with David, of course, I was more of an isolated kid. I would be there in the theater group, either working on my lines off to the side, playing games off to the side by myself. Either way, I was just by myself off to the side. That's kind of how I rolled at that young age. David Sampson, of course, was isolated by the group more than by choice. And so he saw another alone person, playing games, of course David walks on by and says, "Hey, how you doing?" And so I'm there trying to be nice, "Hey, how you doing?" And so he sits down, plops himself down, and wants to play games. And there'll be times where I give him my iPhone, or I guess not my iPhone at that time, my iPod, let him play the game by himself, so that way I could just walk away. I just did not, and he was very annoying as a kid. He was very annoying to me as a kid. But this is all to say that was kidship behavior. We met again later. We did a show together where he was the lead, where he was the star, where he was the main person in the show. I always have to give him credit for that. And then I was just some guy in the cast, and he and we got together really close because through that time I was going through a breakup, and we bonded a little bit more during that show. I had more free time, and by the end of that show, we were best friends, and it's persisted till this time. I don't know when it will end. I'm sure it will. but until that day, we're best friends, and it's a beautiful, long-lasting relationship that I could have not seen coming the moment it inceptionalized. At the point of its inception.
Inceptionalized. You make up a lot of words, Phil, but they always fascinate me.
Yes,
inceptionalized.
I bet it's there. I bet it's out there. I would love to look it up.
That's bullshit. It is a made-up word.
Unfortunately, we don't have the time to look it up right now.
Oh, is that? I'm proud of you for it. You know, you're like a modern Shakespeare.
I am.
Am I going to regret saying that?
Never. Although he did come up with the word woo, which Migos, I'm sure, love. Woo. Anyways, what is a bad ending to you for a friendship? What was a friendship that ended badly for you?
Well, all the friendships that I don't know about all, but many of the friendships that have ended badly for me there's been something more there than friendships. Sure. Either there's someone's had feelings for someone else, or there's been other factors involved. Not going to go into details, but I've had many lost friendships simply because I've moved so many times. So I've faded with most friends that I've had in my life just because I've moved country or something, which is frustrating. I don't know. This is a tough question. I guess the one that came to mind of a friendship that sort of died because, well, it was an unfortunate end to what I thought was a really good friendship. I realized I stopped putting effort. There's these two people who are like best friends who I was really good friends with as well. I stopped putting effort into them because I realized that I was putting effort and they really weren't. They kept me around while things were good, and then they weren't really there at all in the long term. You know, like I guess I realized later on that it was kind of superficial, and I felt like I wasn't getting back what I was putting in. And I think that's kind of really one of the saddest things to realize about someone you considered a close friend, or more than one people in this case. I'm not going to name names, of course, but yeah.
Anonymity for their sake and yours. My bad ending to a friendship, again, I go to childhood because I was young, naive, and dumb. Anyways, we went, my mom and I, she had a friend, a work friend, who also did nails on the side. So we'd always go to her house, and she'd give my mom a friend discount and all that stuff. So we were there at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. Like, that was my mom's expenditure. That's what she wanted. That's what she did. And it was just me and my mom. And so we'd go over and I'd hang out. And of course, she had a son as well. And her son was a little bit better off than I was, so he always had games, so we played games all the time. But he was always like a mama's boy, and that's not to say that I wasn't, but it was whiny and obnoxious to a point where at first I thought we were friends, like we were really close friends, and then after a while it just became he kept telling his mom things about me to be close to his mom, and it was just it wasn't good. Like, oh, he got a hamster one time that really sealed the deal. And he wanted to show it to me, so he let it out and I think put it in the ball, or whatever. And then it was rolling around, and we got called into the other room to talk about something. I don't know, just for fun. And then we went back, and the hamster's gone, and so it was time for me to leave. And so I left, and then he blamed me to his mom for losing the hamster. And so in retaliation, I stole one of his Game Boy games. But it just wasn't a good.
Justice.
It wasn't a good. Yeah, justice. It wasn't a good friendship.
Vigilante justice.
Yes, justice by the law of you shouldn't open your mouth. Squealers get welts. Whatever. No.
Yeah.
And I remember that friendship ending. He went to school with me, and we became enemies almost, where it wasn't like we actively sought each other out, but it was like we actively sought each other out to avoid each other. Where it was like, oh, there's Austin. All right, I better go to the other side. All right. Oh, yikes.
I just thought of another one, actually.
Oh, yeah?
But I'm not sure if I should say it.
Oh,
I need
do
you it. Convince me.
Do it. See, here's the thing. It's therapeutic. What we do here,
okay, all right,
it's not for them. It's for us.
I had this friend who, one of those, I think we all know a person, at least one person like this, just like a compulsive liar, which is hard to deal with. And I reported him for plagiarism because it was there was plagiarism. So I reported him. I didn't think that was right. And then someone else, another mutual acquaintance, told him that it was me who reported him, and he put his from that point on he hated me, refused to be my friend, and from that point on he put his lies to good use and started spreading lies about me.
I see.
So that was a bad ending to a friendship.
Well, you know what else is a bad ending? Me putting this as the last thing for us to talk about.
No, how dare you? I have several questions for you.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Surprise questions.
Yes, I love it.
And we'll try and make this quick fire. Otherwise, we're going to run up the clock here.
Yes.
Have you ever gotten to a place with a guy friend that you have no qualms about seeing them naked?
No.
No?
No.
You're going to have qualms always.
Yeah, not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea.
Okay. I mean, not like you have to do anything. I'm just like,
no. I
don't want to see that.
No, not in the slightest. Like even at least briefs or something, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah. What can I? Yeah. how can I help you today?
Funny. Have you ever punched or slapped a friend?
Oh yeah. I shouldn't say this, but I have a gif of me kicking David in the balls because he lost a bet. But I should say this for my own integrity. He had the choice. Because I so desperately wanted to slap him in the face that when we made the bet, I said, at the end of this, should you lose, you have the choice of me slapping you in the face or kicking you in the balls. And he chose me kicking him in the balls. That's what he wanted.
That's so weird, man.
Yes.
Why would you choose David? Why would you choose that? That is ridiculous.
I got to send you that GIF after this. Anyways, I'm sorry. Continue.
Have you ever betrayed the bro code?
Is the bro code simply peeing on another fire hydrant?
I mean, I don't know what that's supposed to mean. There's many aspects of the bro code.
I think I have violated the bro code once. If in all of its encompassing code, I think I have once.
Okay. Have you ever been attracted to a close family member of a friend of yours? A mom or a sister? Or
yeah.
Okay. Has a prank on a friend ever gone too far?
Yes. Wow. Yes. Recently. Oh God. Wow. That it might take a while for the context of this, but okay. So I have a friend, God, this is awful. That I feel incredibly guilty for, and we still haven't talked recently, but she's a friend, and she's like she's full of life. And so anyways, I see her as like, I'm friends with her, but she has like a family and everything. And so anyways, that comes into context later, because every time I was in her area of town, I just happened to have these extra candy canes. And I thought to myself, you know what? It's been a while since I've done anything or talked with this person. Why don't I do something funny to like, like, hey, it's I'm still thinking of you, but like it's kind of funny because it's so obnoxious and weird. So every time I was in this person's side of town, I would just stop by and hang a candy cane on this person's door. And long story short, I didn't take into consideration that this person's married and has kids, and so they
Oh no.
So they were worried about the kids and thinking that it was some sort of message that the kids were being watched and all this stuff. And
God.
It went to a point where they had to get like a Ring doorbell. It's like really, it really went completely out of hand. And I just didn't think of it. I just didn't think it through. And again, like I said, I was doing it to just because I was thinking of the person that I'm like friends with as opposed to like the everybody else. Cause I don't know. Right. It was just a poor choice, but it was awful. It was awful.
Okay. Last couple here. Have you ever used a friend? Could be for something small, using a friend to buy weed for you, or I don't know. Or it could be like you used a friend in a horrible manipulative way, but I don't think that sounds like you. So
no, not in that way. It's hard because I think I usually have like acquaintances that I use for like a resource or whatever, but it's like that, like it's well known that that's kind of like our thing, I think. So I probably would say yes, but again, it's not towards anything malicious. Like you said, it'd be like, hey, can I use you as a reference, or can I use you to, like you said, attain something? Yeah.
Well, that answer is horribly boring, so let's move on.
Agreed.
Have you ever gotten a friend out of a sticky situation?
Yes. Yes, and that how do I so I keep thinking of certain people, so I guess I'll go with this one. There was a person who was leaving the next day to go out of town for like college. Yeah. And
I know this story.
You know this story. And
I think so.
And this person got incredibly drunk the night before, and I was there, and of course I don't drink. And so here it is, like the person has to leave at like, I don't even freaking know. I think it was like 9 a.m. And here we are 3 a.m. The person is unpacked and drunk beyond recognition. Me and the host person for that party drive this person's car and my car to their house. I drive both me and the host back, and that person had to pack. That person had to get ready. I eventually met them back at the airport, but if it wasn't for me, that person would have missed their flight, and it would have been detrimental to their college career. So that would be
yeah. And with that, we move on. And our mini segment of the week is Would You? In this segment, we each come up with a would you question for the other, and this week, mine truly does.
David.
What?
What's something's biting me? Would you?
Stop it. Don't do that. Oh, I'm so sorry. I was in the middle of explaining.
I couldn't break your intro, but once you finished everything, it was my obligatory duty.
Okay, well,
continue, please. You were doing a beautiful job.
We're each gonna have a would you question for the other, and I'm gonna go with a related to our main topic. And this one is: if your best friend sincerely asked you to do something illegal to save his or her ass, would you do it? And I want you to think along the lines of like switching seats quickly after being pulled over on the road by a cop or something. And don't worry, no law enforcement is listening currently.
Oh, yeah.
And it's all hypothetical. So
it depends on whether or not I would suffer the consequences they would have.
Right, but like, I mean, if they like, for example, if they didn't have a license, their consequences for being pulled over for whatever would be dire, whereas you might face a fine or something.
As opposed, yeah.
Which they might pay you back for, but...
Right, I'm thinking here that they got a DUI, or I don't know why they would... I don't know why, because I would be driving anyways.
or if they're drunk and you're not,
yeah,
because you don't drink, as you said.
But would I? It depends on the severity. I'll say that, but yes, I would. Yes, I would. If it's like if I have to hide the murder tool, you better. I mean, I think it would depend on like who you murdered. Like if it's somebody who did something horrendous. No, because here's the if it was somebody who did something horrendous, like undecimately evil to his like sister, I could understand. I would be like, you know what? If I just look the other way, I can at least feign ignorance at some point, maybe. But if it's just general run of the mill, just
you might say no, officer, I didn't see anything.
Absolutely. Would you?
Yeah, I think again it depends on the circumstances. It depends if it's like switching seats, for example. Like if I feel like we can do it realistically without getting caught, then potentially. It depends on like again if I'm going to face the same consequences. I don't know. I would say maybe.
Well, I too went along for the theme, but I went to a different aspect. I went further. Would you go on a stand and lie for a friend to keep them from going to jail?
Ah, wow. Perjury.
Yeah.
I'd say this. I think I would. I don't know about lie. Lie is so tough. Again, I suppose it depends on what they did or what they didn't do.
Let's assume for now.
Well,
let's assume it's just like a traffic violation. Like they would go to jail for just running a red light, and it's like their last one or something.
Well, jail time for running a red light. Wow.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Well, okay. I take your point. Yeah, potentially. Or maybe I would just like sort of bend the truth. I find that I do that sometimes where I feel like I don't like lying. So I might like tell the truth in a creative way.
Okay.
Yeah. Something like that.
Would it matter if it was your best friend?
Yeah, I guess with best friend, I would be more likely to twist that truth even further. Maybe you might even call it a lie. I don't know.
And finally, what if
objection?
What if it was murder?
Oh, again, it depends who they killed and
why.
What
if it's an unintentional kill? Like they were on their phone and.
Well, that to me is like I don't have a lot of sympathy for that. Being on your phone, I find that's you're going to jail for manslaughter, rightly so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, but again, like you said, if it's the person did something obscene to that person or their family or whatever, then maybe I would be more sympathetic.
All right.
Once more, the Sith will rule the galaxy. Tim, if you're listening, that one is for you.
Yes, that is one of our buddies, one of our mutual buddies, and it comes along to our once more topic of top 3 buddy movies as defined by me and you. What is your number 3 top rated buddy movie, David?
And number 3, I put The Fox and the Hound.
Oh, that's good. That is good.
And, I think it's kind of like the ultimate kids friend movie.
That's a really good one.
It's very close to my heart. The Fox and the Hound, yeah.
For me, I got 21st Jump Street.
Oh, yeah. Good. I like it.
Yeah. My name is Jeff.
What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy 2. This one could be argued that it's more of a father to son one, but I just like the relationships between all the first one and the second one. The first one feels more introductory, whereas the second one seems to be more relationship based. So yes. I enjoyed
100%. Like they're already a team in the second one. Like they already know each other well.
So I like the second one. First one's good too, though. David.
The Road to El Dorado.
On the trail.
I know it's another.
Blazer.
Yeah, I know it's another animated one, but I'm not apologizing for that. That movie is so good. And it even has that song, Friends Never Say Goodbye.
Yes, absolutely. And
that song is so good.
And it's a brave movie to have a blowy in the middle of it.
I know. It's fantastic. That movie's so good. I love that movie. And I like the relationship that Miguel and Tulio have is like the relationship between me and my cousin. So
it is top notch. All right, here we go.
What a great movie. Honorable mentions?
Honorable mention? Sure.
Yeah, let's do honorable mentions first. I got American Pie.
That one's good. Did you like the subsequent sequels?
Only the ones with the original cast. Yeah, none of the like Beta House or those ones were just stupid.
For me, I got Ted. Ted was an honorable mention. I thought it was very good. I never actually saw Ted 2 though. I didn't hear good things.
Yeah.
Top number 1 overall buddy film.
Oh, I had one more honorable mention. Love Rosie. It's a story of 2 friends who are friends for life until they eventually end up together.
Fair enough.
Good movie.
Fair enough. All right, go ahead. Your top number 1 overall.
I had planned to take this off my list and put it in the honorable mentions, and I forgot. So here it is. This is not a friend movie, really. It's more what to do if your friends betray you. So it is The Count of Monte Cristo. It is pretty much my all-time favorite movie, and it is about friends, kind of friends who betray you, and then you set out on a revenge quest that lasts decades. But it is a fantastic movie, and friendships sprout along the way with the priest in the prison and Jacopo, the pirate. There's friendships all throughout that movie. So The Count of Monte Cristo.
That's the most Sweeney Todd's about friendship bullshit I've ever heard. He sings a song called My Friends. Yeah, I get it. All right. Either way. Mine is a traditional buddy film. It's Booksmart. I really thought that it was fantastic. It's hilarious.
Oh, that was good.
And I think it's a better version of Superbad. Superbad is slowly starting to age worse and worse as we get along.
Did you see Good Boys?
I did. I wasn't as fun, but
I liked Good Boys. That was fun.
Yeah, a little while.
But yeah, absolutely. Booksmart was very good, and a fantastic directorial debut for Olivia Wilde.
Once more.
Shut up. Ah!
Oh no, David. Oh, Hoffman.
You really can't do this to me. You can't keep doing this to me, man.
Somebody's gonna play with me.
Oh no.
It's the time of the game. And for this week, we're bringing on, since the topic was friendship, we have to bring on somebody to thank them for being a friend, because they are the biggest golden girl out there. My favorite, my best friend, Hoffman's, I don't know how you want to clarify.
Acquaintance. I mean, we know each other, kind of.
Yeah, just for momentary. Yeah, you guys have done things, whatever. It's David Sampson, everybody. David Sampson, welcome to the POWWOW podcast.
Whoa, what's up, guys?
Yes, I hope your ears have been burning, as you have been talked about much throughout this podcast, both in name and in mention.
I've heard. You know,
we have in the past maybe bleeped out some stuff.
Yes,
when. But I joke, obviously. David Sampson is also a very wonderful friend of mine. We even lived together for a time.
Philip, who's this guy?
Yeah, that's David Hoffman.
Hoffman?
Yeah.
Oh, nice to meet you, buddy.
Yeah.
Glad to be on.
No, me and David, well, I've lived with Sampson. I've lived with Hoffman. No, actually, I haven't lived with
me.
No.
We have not lived together. I mean, not that I know of.
Well, you weren't aware of it. I was sleeping underneath in the little Harry Potter niche. It's not worth talking about. But what is worth talking about is this week's game after we get 2-3 questions. Now, Sampson, I am going to only get one question, since I both know you in all the ways possible to know a person, and Hoffman doesn't know you that well, as you two are merely acquaintances. So he will get to ask you 2 questions. I will ask you one. Hoffman, why don't you start by asking David your question?
If you could be any animal in the world for a year, what would you be?
I would definitely be a tiger. Most definitely.
I can vouch for this.
Yes. Those are my favorite animal. They're freaking beasts, man.
Would that be with the animal print on your blanket, or with the animal print on your loins? Which animal print would you say signified your love for tigers more?
You know, I will say it's a bit of both. I have it on my loins and on my blankets. It actually started because my mom, That's not a good. Listen, I know. Listen, here's the thing. People will look at when they come into my room and they see the tiger. At your loins? No, they don't look at my loins just yet. That's for later.
I mean, they might.
They might. But when they walk in and they see tiger print on the bed, their instinctual something inside them is just going to say to themselves, "Man, that guy's a beast in bed." But basically,
Children,
my mom,
if you're listening, now would be the time to tune out. It's bedtime. Go to bed.
Yes.
Go to bed.
But not in.
But yeah, my mom got it for me when I was a kid. Just because it was my favorite animal.
Yeah, I bet
she knew.
One day.
She knew instinctually. She knew. She was like, "This fits."
That was the message she wanted for her little David baby to say, you know what? He's going to be a tiger in bed. So therefore, Merry Christmas to you, my baby son. You panther in the sack. Good Lord.
Not a panther. We're a tiger.
All right.
But ever since then, we have a deal where she will always get me new bed sheets and blankets, but it's always going to be in the tiger print. Whether I like it or not, I've grown out of it. Here we are.
All right, Samson, my question for you is, which is your favorite memory of me? It's hard to dwindle it down, I know, but if you had to only pick one before you die, you're on your rent dying Mimi moment, and you get to tell me as you lay in my arms.
You're on your tiger print deathbed.
Yes. After
My tiger print.
After an incredibly exhilarating session, and you're laying down with your final breaths. What is your favorite memory of Philip that pops up as you're dying?
Oh gosh, there's so many moments that are just good and bad for all the good best reasons.
Maybe not your favorite then, just a favorite.
A favorite. Oh man, there was the time where this was kind of funny. Well, actually,
good.
I don't know if I could say this. I don't know if I could say this. But you remember the one with the fuel stipend?
Yeah, go ahead. Who the hell cares?
Okay. So me and Philip, we were in a show together. We were both the leads of the show.
We were not.
Just to make that clear. We were both outside after rehearsal. This show is where our friendship really grew. But we were just talking, hanging out, and then essentially what happened was we just got, you know how you get like so tired and like you start doing crazy things because you're just so tired. We started doing that. And so, you know, at some point, I don't know how it got here, but we had Philip. He got on top of my family van, the family van that is my mother's. It's a beautiful car. It's got a great personality on the inside.
Almost tiger-like.
No. It looks like it's got eaten by a tiger, really. It's pretty bad. Essentially, he got on top of the car and we're just, you know, hanging out, and I'm acting like I'm going to drive off with him on it. And then all of a sudden, some people from the rehearsal that we were just at, rehearsal just ended, so they came out, and one of them was like, "Hey, you need to get off of there right now." Me and Phil, we looked at each other and we're like, okay. But then the moment that just ruined it for us and changed everything was when she was like, "If you don't get off right now, we're going to take away your $30 fuel stipend." And it was like, no. Okay, now we just have to keep going. I mean, this was definitely worth a $30 fuel stipend.
It was the weakest threat I've ever heard in my life. A fellow actor in the same show, not a higher position.
Not even with authority. It was
just threatening. If you don't get down from there, we as a unit, including herself within the higher ups of the authority within the theater that we were acting in, we are going to take away your fuel stipend, which amounted to $30. As if that alone was worth it was just so obtrusive, so unnecessary, authoritarian that it yoked something within me. Anyways.
Yeah, and so it was in that moment where me and Philip looked at each other, where he was on top of the car, I was in it, I looked up at him, he looked down at me, and we just nodded, and then we drove off into the sunset as they yelled furiously all the way there.
Did not happen.
It was a good time.
All right, Hoffman, your last question.
Yeah, speaking of deathbeds, how would you want to die if you got to choose? And eaten by a tiger, or after a tiger-like romp in the sack, are not acceptable answers.
Not acceptable answers, okay.
No,
you took away his top two.
Cliche.
Well, let's go with my third option here. Here's the thing. It's kind of like two extremes. I either would want to die like a heroic death where it's like I like take the bullet for someone, like I save the day, maybe even save the world. You know, it's just like that would be cool.
Oh God.
But if that doesn't happen, I would like to die peacefully in my sleep at the ripe age of 97.
David specifically said, not in the tiger camo thing.
Oh. maybe I'll go to leopard. Maybe that'll be different.
Do you think they make adult diapers with tiger print on them?
Adult diapers with tiger print?
Well, you said 97, my friend.
I mean, if we imagine that he's got until he turns 80 before he's going to start wearing diapers, there's plenty of time to have those invented.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll patent it.
There we go. And somebody will pat on it. All right, we move along to...
oh, God.
We move along to the game.
$100 idea.
Thank you. Hoffman, why don't you go ahead and explain this week's game since I guess Samson I will claim as my guest.
Yeah, for sure. I will maybe invite you to help me explain this, Phil.
Okay.
So essentially it's a matching game. We've played a matching game on here before, although it wasn't so hot. Didn't work very well, so we've kind of updated it. So I'm going to list off 5 things, 5 on the question side and then 5 on the answer side, and it'll be down to you guys to match them.
All right.
Now, Phil, are we going one by one, or are we doing all 5?
Yeah. So
right
what we're going to do is we have 10 selections total. So we're going to have 5 spoken out. Me and David have both brought a pen to this contest. All of us have, and so we'll list down the first 5, and then the second 5. And we ourselves will match them accordingly to our preferences, giving the person giving out the list of names our selections, our pairings. At the end, we will both find out how many we each got right, going to a tiebreaker if necessary. So, Hoffman, would you care to go first and list us the names?
Sure. Your 5 in the left column.
All right.
Are all foods. You're going to try to match them with the country that they originate from.
Okay.
Simple enough?
Simple enough.
So the first one is borscht. Borscht.
What?
Borscht.
We're already off to a rousing start.
This is going to go so well. I'm sorry.
How many more times do you want me to say borscht?
I really like it when you say it. You have just like a way about you when you say it.
It doesn't even sound like a food. It sounds like a verb, but go ahead.
Ooh.
Would you like me to spell it, or?
No, I
like you to borscht it.
I think if we phonetically spell it out like a Starbucks employee, we'll get it.
Okay. Your second one is ceviche. Third one is roti. Your fourth one is paella. And your fifth one is couscous.
So those are our 5 on the left column.
Those are your 5 foods.
David Sampson, have you written down all your left column foods?
Yes.
All right. I'm ready for the right, as is David Sampson.
Your countries are Spain, India, Peru, Russia, and Algeria. All good?
Yes.
Sound good?
Yeah.
Keep on waiting on the world to change. Oh, I just can't wait for them to be done.
I am ready. Are you ready, David Sampson?
One second. Oh, man.
Okay.
No Googling.
Oh, no, I can't.
He can. He has to remain on his phone.
Ah.
But don't worry, I'm not Googling either. You can hear my clicks.
Yes.
Or lack thereof, I suppose.
I like to think you haven't some integrity, Phil.
Yes.
Otherwise, this whole podcast is just a waste of time, really.
Besides, have you seen my record? Do you think I'm cheating?
He's trying to make a comeback play. What was the how'd you pronounce the last word again?
Algeria?
No, of the foods.
Couscous.
Couscous? Couscous.
Never heard of couscous. Couscous. Cusco. I think I'm ready.
Okay, we're going to go one by one. We're going to start with the first food. It was borscht. Phil, what have you got for borscht?
I say borscht comes from Russia.
Okay. And David, where does borscht come from?
Borscht. That's a hard one. Because it could be Russian, but that doesn't sound like very Russian to me. I'm going to have to go with maybe Algeria? Borscht.
Okay. I'm going with Algeria. Second one, ceviche. David, we're going to go to you first this time. Where does ceviche come from?
I feel like it comes from Spain. And that's my final answer.
All right.
I agree. I concur.
Spain.
Ceviche from Spain.
And roti. Phil, we go to you first. Where does roti come from?
This is where I locate Algeria. I think roti and Algeria are a match made in heaven.
And David?
Roti. That sounds... I didn't say the correct accent. Roti. Well, actually, that wasn't Russian either. But I'm going to go with Russia.
There we go. And paella. David, we go to you first this time. Where does paella come from?
Oh, paella. Love it. From Peru.
He says Peru. And Phil, do you concur or do you disagree?
I dissent heavily. I believe it is from India. That one feels natural to me.
And your last answers, I suppose it doesn't really matter who goes first, but Phil, we'll go to you first.
I was thinking along these lines as David Sampson stumbled upon it, so I'm hoping that I'm pretty sure he did go differently, but I'm going to go with couscous from Peru because of Cusco.
Okay, and David.
Wow. If only I thought of that sooner. Well, you know what? I'm confident in myself and my answers, but this one I was not confident about. It was the roti and the couscous for me that I feel like couscous, it just has, I think India. I don't know. I'm probably heavily wrong here, but yeah, I have to go with India.
Yes.
Oh, good.
And we can
actually, can I change my answer real quick? Is that okay?
No. And we say with heavy conviction that you are wrong.
You are both quite wrong in general.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
So, yes, yeah.
I thought I had a high ground to stand upon, but it is merely quicksand. Yeah.
Well, let's see. Let me see here. Let me just tally you both up.
We keep on waiting for Hoffman to tally us up.
All right. So, borscht indeed comes from Russia.
Oh.
Yes.
No.
And ceviche, we had two Spanish-speaking countries here. You were right in that it is a Spanish-speaking country dish, but it unfortunately comes from Peru, not Spain. So you were both wrong. Roti comes from India. Phil, you said Algeria. David, you said Russia.
Yes.
Paella. You guys really should have asked me to... I offered to spell these, and you turned me down. I think there would have been some clues if you had asked me if I had gotten the chance to spell them. So paella comes from Spain. Phil, you said India. David, you said Peru. And couscous comes from Algeria. Phil, you said Peru. And David, you said India. So, with 1 point...
No.
Phil, you stand victorious.
This is the best thing I've heard of in weeks. God,
I hate this.
I've done
I'm
absolutely
so sorry,
nothing
Hoffman.
to deserve this, but yet I stand victorious over David Sampson.
You both performed atrociously, but...
I'm so sorry I failed you, Hoffman. My mission here was just to destroy him, and I have failed you completely.
David, how does it feel for the one and only time that you've ever come on POWWOW, and after being such a loyal listener, that you've come on here and failed miserably and horrendously, and one in which I will not take a
single... You're going to cost us a listener here.
I know.
See, here's the thing, okay? Every single time I've listened to this thing, I've listened to the games, I've always think to myself, man, I would have gotten all that right. Man, I would, oh my gosh, like, that's so easy. And then, like, I do it, and, like, I came over here, I thought, you know what? This is my chance to destroy Philip for everything that he stands for and is worth. And yet here I am holding myself and my tiger blanket, crying myself to sleep. I'm so sorry, Hoffman.
Well,
this is devastating.
At least we know you weren't cheating. There, David, you weren't Googling anything.
You know, last week we had a 5 for 5 performance. This week, in true Thanos fashion, bringing balance to the Force, David Sampson righted the ship by having a 0 out of 5 performance. Rarely, if never seen. God bless you, David Sampson.
Oh, God.
Oh.
All right, my turn to do the game. We have the two Davids facing each other head to head. I too have a tiebreaker, and I too have a matching game. So bust out your pens and your pads and your papers and all of your P words that you may or may not think of when talking about two fine gentlemen such as yourselves. Here we go. My game is of celebrity friendships. Now, there may be certain people who fall into categories of friendships, but there's only one true way, like a true puzzle, that fits all these people into the appropriate slot of friendships. So your task is to find out. Obviously, there's only some that have one lane of friendship, so they can only be the ones between the two. And then there are some that you could see as multiple friends, or they are friends with others. It's just a matter of, are they the appropriate one-to-one for these two? Are you both Davids ready?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, Davids.
I think we're both really uneasily saying yes. That was very complicated, but go on.
I love it. I try to overcomplicate it before I make it real simple. Here we go. The first one on your left side will be Clay Aiken. Next one is 50 Cent. Next one would be Justin Timberlake. Next one would be Leonardo DiCaprio. And the last one to round out our list will be Matthew McConaughey on the left side. Again, that's Clay Aiken, 50 Cent, Justin Timberlake, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Matthew McConaughey. That's all for our left side. Are either one of you missing any of those five?
Nope.
No.
All right.
I mean, I'm not even going to try to tell myself that I know how to spell McConaughey under pressure, but
I'm sure he's the only Matthew on the board. And again, these are listed out alphabetically on the left and right side, just so you are aware of that. Next one on the right side, we've got Guy Fieri, Jimmy Fallon, Meryl Streep, Tobey Maguire, and Tyra Banks. Again, that's Guy Fieri, Jimmy Fallon, Meryl Streep, Tobey Maguire, and Tyra Banks. One more time, Tyra Banks. We were all counting on you. All right, first of all, we're going to go with David. Go ahead and give us the answer. Just kidding. All right.
You're so funny.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, Samson, we are going to go with you first. Who is Clay Aiken to be friends with?
Obviously, Jimmy Fallon.
All right. He says Jimmy Fallon. Hoffman, who do you say for Clay?
I'm going to say that Clay Aiken... I'm thinking that E vibe, like the channel E. Tyra Banks.
We move along to the next one, 50 Cent. Hoffman, who is 50 Cent trying to be friends with?
2 quarters. Through process of elimination, I think I'm going to go with Guy Fieri.
Okay. David Sampson, where are we on 50 Cent?
That's crazy. I think it's also Guy Fieri, too.
Hey, you're either both right or both wrong. Either way.
Amazing.
We move along. David Sampson, who is friends with Justin Timberlake.
Oh, that's Tyra Banks.
I see.
All the way.
And David Hoffman.
I'm going to confidently say Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah, you might be right, actually, now that I think about it. Oh, well.
And David Sampson, we move along to Leonardo DiCaprio.
Tobey Maguire.
It should be me first.
Both the Spider-Mans. Well, both of them were up for it, but...
So we go to you, Hoffman. I apologize, I skipped you.
It's okay.
But
it's okay.
Leo...
It doesn't really matter at this point.
It really doesn't.
Leo, I'm going to agree. Leo and Tobey Maguire.
Once again, you guys find yourself on the same side of it. And we will start with Hoffman since I skipped him last time, and we will end with him. Hoffman... Who is friends with Matthew McConaughey, or however you spelled it, in a haste?
Yeah, I didn't. I did. I said Matt and then Muck and then a scribble.
Matt
and I'm going to say Matt McScribble is friends with Meryl Streep.
Okay, and David Sampson.
I agree. Matthew McConaughey and Meryl Streep.
All right. And Merle.
Meryl Streep.
All right. I will get away with the first one. You both were correct, sniffing out Leonardo DiCaprio and Tobey Maguire's bromance. So you both start off with a point. But from here...
Yeah, that was the what's it called? The Great Gatsby friendship.
Yeah, it was the... Well, apparently, from what I had found in my research, they were both up for an audition in their earlier years, and that's where the friendship came to be.
For Spider-Man.
For Spider-Man, according to David Sampson. That is That could be fake.
You can trust this source.
I don't one bit. But they were at an earlier audition. All right, we move along to Clay Aiken. And David Sampson, you got that wrong. David Hoffman didn't. Clay Aiken is indeed friends with Tyra Banks, so kudos to you, Hoffman, for that one. We move along to 50 Cent. And 50 Cent, you both got incorrect. 50 Cent is indeed friends with Meryl Streep.
What?
I would not have called that, but that's
Yes, there are multiple pictures of them laughing, holding hands in courtside for basketball games. They're pictured outside. They're very, very friendly. So 50 Cent and Meryl Streep, the friendship we never knew that we wanted. Next, confidently, David Hoffman went Justin Timberlake, Jimmy Fallon, and he was rewarded with that friendship. So a 2-1 lead Hoffman resides over David Sampson. And
3 right, actually.
Yes, 3 right. Excuse me. You are correct. And let's see. Who is left? Matthew. Oh, no. I think we've done it, right? Clay.
No, Matthew McConaughey and Guy Fieri by process of elimination.
Yes, it is. Matthew McConaughey and Guy Fieri.
Which makes a lot of sense now that I'm thinking about it.
Yes, it's the friendship that the chemistry fits once you actually pair them together. But beforehand, who the heck knows? So, all in all, David Sampson, it's been a successful game for you to not show up and only get 1 point, while Hoffman gets 3. So we have both won. You have turned our luck around. Both of us have come off of a losing week, and now we both get a skipping stone next week, thanks in courtesy to David Sampson.
I'm just here to support you guys. I want you guys all to do well. That's just what I'm here for, of course.
I am curious. My tiebreaker was epic.
Was mine. Mine was fun.
How sad. How sad. I'm sure we'll hear it next week.
What?
Yes.
Well, for mine always expires. David Hoffman brings his along, kicking the can down the road.
I mean, mine has no discernible theme, so I'll say it's a good one. So I'll save it for when it's needed.
Yeah, save it for a guest without tiger print on their person right now. But mine isn't. I'm curious because this one's quick. I've been taking notes as per how many times we have said the word David on this podcast thus far. So excluding that last mention, Samson, what is the number that I have marked down on my little sheet of how many times the word David has been mentioned besides those last
in the game
times?
section or in the...
Oh, no, just in the game section.
Just in the game section, okay.
I'd say...
I've tried to pepper it in quite a fair amount of times.
14 times.
14, Hoffman.
Oh, I'm going to go 22.
Hoffman is far closer. We are at 29 at current count, and I probably missed 1 or 2, but it is 29 is what I have indicated.
I'm just a loser everywhere. Gosh.
Hoffman would have won regardless of everything. Well, either way, regardless, we'd like to thank one of our biggest listeners and my best friend, who I very much appreciate and enjoy our friendship, David Sampson. With no ounce of comedic effect, thank you so much for coming on the show. I know. I swear. I know it sounds like I'm setting you up for a punchline, but I really do appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you for being my friend. Is there anything you would like to plug at this time, David Sampson?
I mean, follow me on Instagram at SaveIt.
And that's all the time we have for it. Thank you so much. No, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Continue your handle.
It's SaveIt_Damson. Basically switching the D and the S from my first and last name.
Clever.
Thank you. I'm so proud of it. Follow me. Hit me up.
I could see Leonardo DiCaprio doing something similar.
How about Cheryl Mertarip?
All right,
okay.
And we move along.
That really is all we have time for. Thank you, David, for jokes aside, also being my friend. We haven't known each other as long, but we are very good friends, and I appreciate you coming on, and we'll have to have you on in the distant future once we've cleansed our systems.
Yeah. I understand. Thanks for having me on.
And now to the scores. With that intriguing game, we both come out with wins, upping my record to a 8-15 overall record, with David Hoffman getting to a 10-13 record himself.
Oh no!
You have to stop.
I really do. This will be the last time. I'm so sorry to everybody listening. This is got to be getting on everybody else's nerves. It's getting on my skin, obviously, as I slap myself for that slaps.
Jesus.
I'm willing to do it all for this episode. It's been a week, and I am feeling the ill effects of it. That slaps, of course, where we go and we bring forth the highest quality entertainment that we have found that week that pertains to the topic, and really anything in between. David, I want to go first since mine is not a song. It is not a song. Yes.
Oh.
I'm going to be going to The Suicide Squad. I thought that it was a good friendship thing, and it came out recently. I saw it in theaters this week. Not the first one, of course. This is The Suicide Squad. Surprised the poop out of me.
It's like a soft reboot, apparently.
Yeah,
right?
It's very soft, like a very flaccid reboot. It makes it.
Does it kind of like reset the original story, or does it at all follow along?
No,
from it?
it really does. It's a soft reboot, but it's a sequel because it does directly go after the events of the first one with a lot of the same characters.
Does it tie into Birds of Prey?
You don't need to,
which I never saw.
Yeah, you don't need to have seen that in order to be. It just continued Harley's story, so that's about it.
Gotcha. All right, I did bring a song, and as per my MO, it has absolutely nothing to do with the main topic. It is just something that I have been absolutely jamming to this week. It is called "Still Feel" by Half Alive, and ooh, it slaps, man. And this is the second week in a row, Phil. I want you to listen to this song. I'm Uncle Sam right now, and I'm pointing at Phil, and I'm saying I want you to listen to "Still Feel" by Half Alive. Did you listen to the one from last week?
I didn't. You know what? I was editing it, and I took note of it. I've got it somewhere. I'm going to need to go back.
Well, now you have 2 songs to listen to. It's going to take you the grand total of like 7 minutes, 8 minutes. I don't know.
So much.
"Still Feel" by Half Alive. It slaps, and there we go.
Somebody sign up on me.
Oh, shut up. From the bottom of something, Phil has just smoked some unearthly thing and is... Yeah, and we apologize to you, the listener, this week.
Hopefully it wasn't too annoying of an episode.
And all the while, we thank you for tuning in. We have some thank yous to throw out. We'd like to thank Cass and Crossland and to Jake Corlang for the beautiful sounds, the beautiful musical interludes, intro and outro music that you hear every single week. Thank you, guys.
We'd like to thank Tara Amstutz for her wonderful graphic design work. Thank you, Tara. And of course, we'd like to thank Josh Hans as well for some of the wonderful musical interludes you find in between a lot of our segments. And I'd like to personally thank you, David, for still being my friend even after this podcast.
Oh, it's a pleasure always, most of the time. Anyway, find us on Instagram at POWWOW_podcast. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, English, and iHeartRadio even, just not Pandora, because, Phil, what do we say to Pandora?
Screw you, Pandora.
Screw you, Pandora. So, tell your friends to check out POWWOW Podcast, and we'll see you next week.
Oh no, look out, it's a bear!